Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in. This is a screencast-o-matic presentation and recording for the part of the lesson that has us looking at Congress in regards to its organization, leadership positions, committees, and more. Before we get started, please let me encourage you to open up to today's lesson, scroll down the correct section, and get ready to complete the guided notes sections and key concept questions that happen to appear throughout the notes by listening to this presentation and, of course, following along accordingly. Please remember that you can replay any part of this presentation for detail, clarity, or repetition later on. Let's go ahead and begin. How Congress is organized. Terms and sessions of Congress. So a term is for 2 years and broken into two one-year sessions. In a sense, that's how we define and describe the terms in Congress. Now, in terms of sessions, we're talking about meetings of Congress to conduct business, usually lasts through the fall of each year. The first session, or an odd year on January 3rd after the general election in November, essentially takes place then. The second session is an even year, January 3rd, unless the preceding Congress designated a different date. When Congress comes to work, they essentially try to hold committees, have meetings, and see what types of bills and proposals they can pass and work for the people. Now, when the Senate and House adjourn until the next session as they see fit, both houses must agree to adjourn and end. This will take several short breaks or recess during a session. In terms of special sessions, called by the President for an emergency or special situation, special sessions might be in order if there's a severe extenuating circumstance or crisis. Sometimes there's joint sessions too, where both houses meet together, like in the State of the Union address, where the President delivers that historic speech. But how is each house organized? Well, let's talk about the Senate first. In terms of the Senate, the Vice President is at the top. You may not have known this, but the Vice President is technically part of the Senate. They essentially serve as the leader of the Senate, but they may only vote if there is a tie. There's the President pro tempore, who leads while the Vice President is absent. And then there's the Majority Leader, the head member of the majority party in the Senate, who is elected by the party members in the Senate to assume and seek and carry out that position. There's also the Minority Leader, who's the head member of the minority party, elected by party members in the Senate too, just like the Majority Leader. The majority and minority leaders are also called floor leaders, and in a sense you might see them the most, leading debates and the charges to pass or stop a bill or law from becoming into action. There's also the party whips, who help the floor leader persuade party members to support the party's policies. In many ways, they whip their own parties in line to vote a certain type of way. Now let's talk about, of course, the House more specifically. The Speaker of the House is the leader of the House of Representatives, and the Speaker must be elected by members of the House directly. The Speaker essentially decides the order of business, recognizes members in order for them to speak, and usually is a member of the majority party in office. The Majority Leader is the head member of the majority party, and the Minority Leader, like in the Senate, is the head member of the minority party. Once again, in the House, you might see these two people emerge the most to host debates, meetings, press conferences, to either push an agenda forward or to prevent it from happening. And just like in the Senate, there's also party whips in the House, who assist in persuading party members to support a party's policy or to vote a certain type of way. Congress does most of their work through the committee process, though. Standing committees, of course, are permanent committees which specialize in a certain area or field, like finance. We're going to talk more about committees later on. And then there's subcommittees, which are essentially subdivisions of standing committees that consider specific matters and reports back to full committee. There's also select committees who handle special issues and concerns that are beyond the capacity of the standing committee. There's joint committees, which are made up of members of both houses or both chambers. And then there's conference committees, who work out differences in proposed laws between both houses to try to come up with a great compromise bill or law. Now, the House Rules Committee is one of the most important ones. They're essentially the traffic cops, if you will. They consider all the bills reported from the committees and determine whether and in what order to schedule their consideration on the floor of the House. Now, each member is on one standing committee. There's also the committee chairman, who's the member who heads up a standing committee. In Congress, you might find them using the seniority rule or system the most, where members who have served the longest are usually selected to be the chairpersons of their specified said committees. The majority party holds the majority of seats on each standing committee, except for the House and Senate Ethics Committee, which are evenly divided for probably obvious reasons. So as you guys can see, the setup of Congress is in fact elaborate. But how does a bill become a law? This will be our focus next time as we talk more about the functions and executions of Congress doing their jobs to pass bills and public policies. Thank you very much for tuning in, and good luck with completing the rest of the lesson.